So, we all know that Grok, the dev behind the Gamma modpack, never stops churning updates over and over and over, like a mouse on Adderall, and don't get me wrong, on top of all that dedication being actually impressive, that's an amazing thing for us players, to always have new content, bug fixes, all the quality of life and optimization you can imagine, and in some way always something fresh to get back to. So, last weekend didn't disappoint, and Gamma 0.9 got released with a ton of new features, so let's talk about it quickly, because there's a ton of cool stuff to cover. The first thing you're gonna notice is the new installer. I'm not gonna linger too long on that, because it might not seem like much, but the installer has always been a central part of what makes Gamma great, in my opinion, as it makes getting the modpack and its almost 400 different add-ons a breeze, and it's the easiest way to stay updated with all the new stuff, bug fixes and balance changes that Grok adds on a regular basis. The new installer is much faster, stable, and there's been a ton of improvements made in the back end apparently, but that goes way over my head. The point is that it makes our life even easier and Gamma even more accessible, which is the most important part. Okay, now let's talk about all the new add-ons that have been added in this build. There's a lot, so I'm not gonna cover everything, just the ones I'm actually really excited about. You can find the full list like everything else in the description and on the Discord. The first one that I absolutely love is the PDA Taskboard. Now, as soon as you've at least interacted once with a trader, and it works immediately for all the random stalkers around you, you can directly see and accept their missions inside the PDA in this new Taskboard tab. It's already super useful, but in places like Rostock, where there's a ton of traders and different NPCs, it's a game changer. It saves so much time to have an overview of all the tasks available to you without having to visit everybody, and you just pick whatever you feel like doing directly. And you still have to go back to get your reward at the end, which I think is absolutely perfect. It streamlines the whole process, but doesn't kill the spirit of the game, as you still have to interact with people at some point. It just makes things less tedious. It's perfect. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, now let's talk about the Autolooter, because this thing is amazing and scary at the same time. It's basically a way to automate actions. Let's say every time I loot a body, I want all the guns and armors to be disassembled automatically and only the parts in good condition kept. That makes it possible. You just need to have your disassembling tool with you, set up everything the way you want to, and instead of looting the full body, it will automatically disassemble what you want and only pick up what you chose. Same for ammo, junk items, you can set up any action you want to be automated with any items. I don't think it's something I'm gonna use early game, as I love to organize and order my loot myself. It's a big part of what I love in Gamma, and it gives an important sense of progression. But later in game, it's actually something really cool to have to make looting and inventory management much faster if you want to. And I can already see the comments saying, see, there's so many items in this mod, blah blah blah, and now you need a mod on top of the mod to deal with all the items. It's like basically making up a problem and selling you the solution. Yeah, yeah, a little bit, but it's still nice. I still like it. Okay, now let's talk about immersion, because there's a couple of new neat little things. Blood Pool and Bloody Steps does exactly as advertised. Now, every time you murder someone, a blood pool will slowly form under their body. And if you step in it, you will leave bloody footprints for a little while. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's actually pretty nice. It works the same with Mutants too. Speaking of Mutants, Immersive Skinning is another cool little add-on that just gives this extra attention to details. Now, every time you go to skin a mutant, you can see the actual body part removed from the body. I'm actually still impressed that someone took the time to do a mod like that. I mean, look, I carved the eye out. It's kinda crazy. It really shows the dedication that some people put in improving this game, even after all these years. So anyways, nothing crazy, but a nice little touch. We also have new textures and models for dogs, in particular Pseudodogs, and they look really good and pretty scary. Now when I get one-shotted by one of these guys, I won't complain as much, because they definitely look buff as f***. Modular compass and minimap extension adds a pretty sweet minimap that looks really good and fits perfectly in the HUD. It's a giant improvement on the old minimap that was big and square and clunky, and I actually don't mind leaving it on all the time now. And there's different variants that you can customize apparently, but it looks so good already I didn't even look into it yet. There has also been, I'm not gonna call it an overhaul, but almost a ton of improvements in terms of graphics and audio to make the zone look and sound as good as ever. Hippo's atmospherics that brings huge improvements to the weather, dark signal audio for the weather and ambience and a lot of other tweaks, especially with the shaders that would take too long to list honestly. The thing to get out of this is that the game looks gritty and moody, sound even better, the ambience is on point and the performance is actually great. I have much better FPS than the latest builds without even touching my settings yet. I just left everything by default and I'm actually impressed. On top of all that, we have a lot of gameplay and quality of life changes. Mutants spawning has been rebalanced on all the maps, Alife optimization for less game stuttering, which is a big deal for a lot of people, and overall a more lively and immersive zone, which is great because the loot you find around has been completely reworked. Exploring everything is a must now, and you will find stuff a little bit hidden everywhere, with a lot of diversity, and everything is pretty well balanced. It might not sound like much, but food on the tables, vodka next to a couch, random stuff in boxes, that kind of things. Taking items somewhere will also fill an empty item slot somewhere else in the world, so explore as much as you can and loot. Med crafting has been completely revamped, following this map if you're interested in the specifics and want to understand all the different interactions, but for most players the gist of it is simply that upgrading and crafting meds is now easier and more linear, and it was already worth it before to craft rather than buy them, and now it is even more. So basically craft and upgrade your meds, don't buy them. Mutant pelts are now better, rarer, and even better to use as attachments. You can also only equip one of each items to your belt now, no more spamming full armored plates or something like that. All the items have been buffed to compensate, and you have to use a bit more variety in your builds. And I'm skipping a ton of stuff, like little quality of life stuff, like the new radiation grace periods. Now, when you walk in irradiated water or in an area, you don't get radiation immediately, which makes places like swamps easier to navigate, especially early game when you have little protection. Because don't get me wrong, gamma radiation is still deadly, but it's just like little things like this to make the experience a little bit nicer. So overall, it's an amazing update with a ton of new things to try out and experiment with, because again, I skipped a ton in this video and only talked about the stuff that caught my eye. You can check the patch notes, it's actually impressive. It keeps getting better and better.